And you?
I am also doing well.
I can see that.
Uh,
You're looking good.
in fact, I expected to see your name on the list of those who are being appointed, but it seems is it a personal decision?
Oh, this has taken me off guard. This has taken me off guard. No, I mean the president, like the coach,
Okay.
has knows what he wants to do, and
Okay.
the players that will help him achieve
Okay.
his goal. So let's wait and see.
What will happen?
Yeah,
But I'm wondering what you do nowadays, because now you're not as actively engaged. What we see is what we report. So not so actively engaged in our public space,
Right.
in terms of being part of the government. And now the campaign has ended, so your activities have slowed down. How do you spend your time nowadays?
Well, there are things that I do, both in the country and outside.
Okay.
I set up an organization, the Africa Growth Solutions,
Okay.
that has been promoting
Africa Growth
Solutions.
Okay.
promoting Africa's interests
Okay.
in relation to trade and investment.
Okay.
And we recently signed an MOU
Okay.
with the China Trade and Investment Center
Okay.
to promote trade and investment between Africa and China.
Okay.
So there are things that I do with other international organizations like Crans Montana
Okay.
Forum.
Okay.
Then in the U.S., Rainbow Push Coalition, that's Jesse Jackson's organization, and others like the Africa Democracy Foundation and others. So there's a bit of things that's...
So you're actively engaged on issues not only related to Ghana, but the interest of the continent.
Sure.
Why is that so important to you? Because you're talking about trade.
No, see, as I got involved with international organizations,
Okay.
let's start from here. I was president of NALAG, that's the National Association of Local
Okay.
Authorities of Ghana. And then I became the president of the Africa Union of Local Authorities.
Okay.
And then the vice president
Africa
of
Union of Local Authorities.
Yes,
Okay.
I became the president. And then the International Union of Local Authorities, that's the global body, that's vice president.
Okay.
And through that, I got onto a number of international organizations. That was when I was DC all the way.
Okay.
So I got into the network of a number of international organizations.
Okay.
And that's something that attracted my attention to Africa and its role in global affairs.
Okay.
One area that I became passionate about has been trade and investment.
Okay.
Because
Trade and investment.
trade and investment.
Okay.
And if you look at the global trade, Africa's role there is quite insignificant.
Okay.
And that's also what makes countries strong.
Okay.
If your contribution to global trade is high, you become strong.
Okay.
In terms of your economy,
Your
in terms
currency
of
among it. Yeah.
all that, and the well-being of your citizens. So when the global players are talking and you are not in that league,
Okay.
your voice doesn't matter.
Okay.
So I've been interested in and been working with other networks in that.
Okay. Is there focus on Ghana, or you're looking at the African continent as a whole?
No, this organization has to do with Africa.
Africa.
But of course, the MOU I signed with a Chinese center, trade and investment center, had the global China, Africa.
Okay.
But then I also recommended that we have China, Ghana as a model to start with.
Okay.
That was late into 2024.
Okay.
So now that elections are over and all that, we are now looking at the implementation of various areas that we selected.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So,
okay. Let's go on.
So that's if you don't hear from me, then and again I was active. You mentioned that during the campaign.
The campaign so much
because I thought that.
Please kindly pull the mic a bit closer to you. Yes.
Okay.
The mic. Yeah. Okay, that's better.
As a country, we were at a very critical stage of our democratic governance, and the mood for change was quite huge, and I had to play my part first as a key member of the party at the NDC, and also as a citizen.
Okay.
So I was quite active in the media space to put the case across that there was a need for that change in leadership and in direction of the country, as was reported by Global Info Analytics, that the survey they conducted indicated that majority of Ghanaians, 9 out of 10 said the country was going in the wrong direction.
Okay.
So it behoves on all well-meaning Ghanaians to add their voice that we needed that change. So that's why I was very active. That phase is gone, and government is doing well. If they are, we need to all rally behind the government to reset.
Okay.
So I've been doing quite a lot on writing my thoughts from various perspectives on the resetting, and engaging the media by posting, not as we are sitting now. So this is my first after
your
the
first
elections.
time after the elections.
Yes, and
and I wonder, because you said government is doing well.
Yes, so far so good. The CD has appreciated. For me, it's not whether the most important thing is that the CD is appreciating against the dollar.
Okay.
That's if I get food on my table.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all that I want. You know, when the Arab Spring happened, I just come from Egypt.
Oh, okay.
And I was surprised that the people I met there, who were so kind of mild, and you wouldn't expect that within 2 weeks, the very people I met there would be that kind of boisterous and in protest and all that. Anyway, so years later, I was doing some works in Morocco.
Okay.
And I asked the organizer of the events that how come Morocco was the island in the midst of all this turmoil.
Yeah.
And my host said, for Morocco, food prices have been stable for so many years.
Oh.
Yes.
Food prices stable for so long.
Yes.
Okay.
And then there was also the housing issue that the government has been tackling for a very long time. And, we went around, there were some ongoing projects on housing. It's something that government really invested in. And also public transport. Public transport is cheap. So they didn't have any cause. Any cause to protest.
But a lot of people expected that Morocco would be one of because of the monarchy system they had.
No, but the basic needs are being provided. Yes, so that's all that is important to citizens. It's not whether you added 100 tons of gold to the reserves or what because of Trump's policy, that's why the cedi is appreciating or not. So this argument for me, it's not something I really waste time on. People want to see results.
For you, is the results that the government is getting at this time that's important?
So far, I'll say it's good. If you were speculating on currencies and now it's going down, then you have a difficulty. But now that the cedi depreciation was a major issue.
Yes, very big issue
in the elections.
Yes, very big issue.
So I think with that we can say that the government is on track, and we should all support the efforts here.
So for you, the cedi performing well. There have been talk of the inflation also showing signs of slowing. But the big issue of prices going down for you is also very relevant. So things have to be affordable for the people.
Absolutely. So it's all about, in all this, for a government that delivers is one that ensures the safety and well-being of citizens. That's the bottom line.
Safety and well-being.
Well-being.
Once you can assure those two things, you have delivered what the people need.
Yes. Well-being is multifaceted in many ways, but when I believe that my well-being as a citizen is being taken care of, I don't have any issues with government. And that's why, because when people have issues, that's where they look into the soup of officials. They want to know what you are eating because they are hungry. But if I can, my preference is say kenkey and fish, and I'm getting my kenkey and fish, and you are sitting in your restaurant and eating your salad. I'm not interested. You get it. But if I don't get my kenkey and fish, that's where I'll be curious. I want to know
how you are living.
Yes, So if we have affordable, reliable public transport system, people will not be interested in whether you are in your V8 or. But when you are in your V8 and people are standing in the sun, and we don't have that public transport system that is efficient and affordable, then they will have issues. At the end of the day, it's the basic needs, society's well-being, and their safety. That's what
is important. In fact, during the campaign, and I guess you kept hearing, one of the things that people kept pointing out to you is that the situation you are seeking to inherit is a troublesome one. Even the boy in power were telling you that it's a troublesome one. Even though they were not facing the consequences, it's likely that if you take over and you don't do the right things, you might be the ones
to inherit the people's anger.
Yes. So for you now, 4 months in, do you think the right things are being done to ensure that you don't get to that place when people are reminded of where they are coming from?
Yeah, so far, I think the goodwill is there. I've been following social media comments when the opposition leaders and their communicators try to impugn a negativity to government actions,
Okay.
the kind of reactions.
Okay.
So it means that people appreciate that we're not in a good position.
Okay.
You know, the country was not in a good position before President Mahama and the NDC took over, and that they are understanding of any difficulties. But even then, as I've said, we see signs of the country resetting, and it's good. It's good.
Well, if you just join us, Honorable Akwasi Opon-Fosu is former Minister of Local Government and Rural Development. In fact, you said that when you became DC, you also at some point became the president of NALAC.
Yes.
How far back was this?
I was the first batch of DCs to be appointed by Rawlings was in 1982.
Oh, not during the Democratic period.
No,
you're talking about during
the PNDC. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I became president of NALAG during the DC era when we moved from district secretary to district chief.
District chief executive. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and that was in 90. I think it was in 98 or 99 thereabout. Yeah.
You were DC for quite a while. How long were you district chief executive? Because you were district secretary,
and then
you were there long enough to transition into
the DC. Yeah. So I was DC for 82 to 2000.
82 to 2000.
That should be about 18 years.
Okay. Okay. So 2000 when the government handed over power, or your
yeah, in early 2000,
okay.
I was appointed deputy minister for local government.
Oh, so you're deputy minister briefly?
Yes, before we left.
Okay.
Yes.
I see. How old were you when we were named DC?
24. So now, we are in the right direction in the
24 years.
Where with the appointments, I think
most of them are in their 30s.
Yeah, so people are saying they are boys and all that. No, yeah. I mean, I don't.
24, your president was in his 30s.
Yes.
How did you figure out what to do?
Well, at the center, there were some people who gave directions.
Okay.
As to what the whole philosophy,
okay,
and ideology of the regime,
okay,
was about. So that guided us,
okay,
in whatever we were doing.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say it was easy, but we were able to surmount the challenges as a result of the guidance we got from the center. Everybody, you have to fall in line to be part of the administration.
Oh, there was active monitoring at the time?
Yes, very active. You'll be surprised at the little things that are even picked from the remotest areas of this country, and you'll be called to Accra to meet senior members of government to answer certain questions.
Because I certainly can't imagine a 24-year-old being named DC at this time. That would be a rare occurrence. But at the time, it seems there were many people.
Many
young.
Yeah. There were young people. Kofi Tutobi Kwachi was in his 20s when he was Minister of Information. There were quite some very young people around, and of course the experienced, serious, experienced hands. Nathan Kwao.
Okay.
And quite Bibidia Samoa. They were in the center. Captain Chikata and all that.
PV they provided a guidance.
Okay. PV was young then, in his 30s, but he was unique in his own way. all of them providing the intellectual framework and guidance for us to proceed as a country. And we, as the operatives on the ground, took directives. We were guided by the philosophy of the time. Yeah.
Then, and I'm guessing you're wondering, then what has changed? Because from that sense of relying on youth and being guided by the experience of the old, to now where even when you're in 40, people have problems with you being named minister because they feel that you are not old enough, you're not experienced enough. What do you think has changed? What is the issue with our politics now that makes people less interested in trusting youth?
I think it's a whole generational thing.
Okay.
People, what we now call the Gen Z, and their cultural orientation and the dynamics we are experiencing now. People, even though largely the youth see that cultural change as their own world. I remember a young lady told me once that, Uncle, this is our world, and you guys are living in our world. I said, you are right. It's your world indeed, because there are some of the things that I can't imagine during our time could happen. Okay. You know, but so, and even with that, they themselves still look back like there's something missing. So this mistrust has to do with this kind of culture that they themselves don't understand.
Okay.
Most of them are borrowed, replacing our culture, the ones that we inherited, and now a complete change with the advent of social media. The world has become like, as we say, a village, a small village, one big entity, and whatever is happening in the remotest of this globe is seen on social media. So there is a huge cultural shift, and in terms of politics, what drove some of us into the public space? When I was in the university, I just maybe didn't imagine myself being in politics.
Okay.
I majored in chemistry.
Okay.
Yeah, but there were certain things that some of us, majority of the youth then, were passionate about. Issues of patriotism was quite important to us. The values at the time. Okay. So when the IK Champon regime, at a point, the students gave IK Champon all the support, but when things went south, then there was this kind of reaction, and most of us became very active in politics of the time, and it had to do with the direction of the country and the need for Ghana to be at the place that the world, the continent, expect us to be as the leaders, the Black Star of Africa. So we all became actively involved in ensuring that the country worked. That was how most of us got involved with Rawlins's philosophy of power to the people, accountability, probity, social justice, and all that. It really resonated with the youth. So most people then got involved, including myself.